come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day. Y'all better come my way. Y'all better come my way. Okay, and say, y'all better come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day. Peace out,
Welcome
peace
to
out.
Jam Packed. I am your host, Jamila. Y'all, I am super duper pumped for the guest that we have today. But before I just tease you with all of his greatness, make sure you subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Instagram at JAMPACKED Show and YouTube.com/JAMPACKED. Now that we got all that out of the way, y'all, we've got quite a treat. And I'm like putting on my little sexy voice right now because we've been talking so dirty before all of this started. He is a multi-award-winning podcaster, the host of the podcast Probably True. For y'all that have missed out on all of his goodness, Probably True is about the stories of queer life and even queerer sex. Yes. Probably True is the repeatedly award-winning, slightly filthy storytelling project tackling LGBTQ issues in a fun and engaging way. Much like its creator, it is a smutty but charming collection of personal adventures making the world a better place, one silly, sexy story at a time. Presented in a chatty and engaging style, episodes are intended to remind queer people all over the world that whatever life throws at them, they are not alone. Y'all, he is so deeply on the award-winning level of life. Some of his awards include, just to take you to 2019, he was the winner of the Gold Bullseye Award, formerly known as the Represent Award. And that was through the British Podcast Awards. And for y'all that need to know the amazingness of what that award actually holds, it honors the podcasts that are producing exceptional listening experiences for audiences underrepresented in other British media. And it was described as by judges as small and perfectly formed, a show that consistently delivers compelling, true stories for the LGBTQ plus community. He's won a bronze, he's won a silver, and it was time for gold, according to the judges. And y'all, he is more than deserving of all of the awards that he gets. In 2018, just so y'all know, like I said, he was a bronze winner. He was the winner for the Best Entertainment Podcast, bronze, and that was also through the British Podcast Awards. He was also in the LGBT category finalist for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. And then in 2017, he was the winner of the Best Entertainment Podcast, which was a silver, through the British Podcast Awards. And then again, he was also a finalist in the LGBT category through the People's Choice Podcast Awards. In 2016, he was the finalist as an Emerging Writer of the Year. He was the winner of the Kevin Greening Award of Creativity in Radio. In 2015, he was a finalist for the Social Media Freelancer of the Year through the Juno Awards. Since creating his podcast in 2016 and multiple award wins, like I said, Probably True is now open to submission. So for y'all that are listening, he's looking for silly, sexy stories from the audience with the aim of giving a platform to queer folks, to queer voices from the full LGBTQ spectrum. All LGBTQ listeners are encouraged to join in and share their stories. Straight listeners are thanked for their offer, then asked politely yet firmly to sit on down. So y'all make sure that you do not miss his episodes. New episodes are released weekly at approximately 2 a.m. Monday, British time, I believe that is, and are available via all of your favorite podcasts. For y'all that need to know UK time, they are 8 hours ahead of LA. Just to let y'all know. And he recently founded the Queer Podcast Network, a group aimed at connecting, inspiring, and enabling LGBTQ audio talent around the world. Before the world ended, as we know, as the pandemic, they had several successful events, including an hour-long workshop on interview techniques from accredited journalist Andy Wasley, After the world
cool.
ended
Cool.
and in-person contact was forbidden, he shifted the focus online and QPN Pod was born. And so QPN Pod is more of a companion podcast series for the Queer Podcasters Network, consisting of weekly 1-minute tips and tricks to help aspiring podcasters and audio producers to make better work. He has created platforms to teach his skills and to allow passionate people to learn from each other via his company, Scott Elliott Podcast Consultant, alongside regularly hosting and participating in podcast workshops. Yes, if y'all are not as exhausted by the amazingness he is putting out in the world, but wait, there's more. So he does the podcasting workshops and panel discussions for Rise and Shine Audio. Y'all, he is doing the damn thing. He has appeared as guest on various local and national radio stations, including BBC Radio 1. He has over 10 years experience as a brand voice specialist. His voice is so magical, by the way.
Thank you very much.
and as a content creator, shaping the way a variety of local, national, and international brand sound, engage, and interact with their different audiences.
Have you been on my LinkedIn?
I am all up in that ass. I am
stalking
doing deep dives.
I love it.
He created content and managed communities for Samsung, Cadbury, EE from pre-launch through to fully functioning digital presence, and Sony, among others. He is incredible. He's an audio writer, editor, producer. You may have seen him in the Lend Your Voice campaign, lending his voice to Omar, a Pakistani refugee. Last year, he launched... Yes, I saw. Last year, he launched, just to shift a little bit of gears in his intro, last year, he launched Late Night Listen. Y'all, it is some sexy listens. It is the world's first audio-only fans channel where you think more erotic audiobooks. So make sure you also check that out on onlyfans.com/late night listen for all that sexy goodness, all that jizz in your ear. He wants you to know that he is a fairly bad stand-up comedian and a mediocre lover.
Yes.
In a past life, he co-founded and directed the UK's largest and fastest growing gay lifestyle magazine. They need to know about this. You are out here. He was nominated for the Stonewall Publication of the Year. He spends his time talking to himself in a cupboard, drinking too much, and wondering if he's actually cool. Y'all, the hang time in his hair is amazing. Or just he thinks about, or is he just a wanker, a bit of a wanker? His words, not mine.
Yeah,
his words, not mine. Making the world a better place, one orgasm or dick joke at least at a time.
Oh yes.
Joining us from London.
Hello,
folks. I bring to y'all Scott Flashheart. Woo!
Oh. I want you as my hype person forever. For everything I do from now on, I want you there, announcing me entering rooms. I don't care if it's just a kitchen when I'm making breakfast. I want you down there introducing me as I make my fucking eggs. That was amazing. That was a lot. Thank you for that. I feel like you've overhyped me ever so slightly there.
You are out here doing the motherfucking thing. Like, if you have cats, I'd be like, hear ye, cats. Scott is entering the room. Y'all, listen.
They wouldn't care. They just want feeding.
Yeah, they do. That and just something to claw on.
This is why I can't have cats, because I'm more of a dog person. I need them to love me. If I'm keeping it alive, I need to see that it's grateful. But cats don't care. They're like, yeah, feed me and then fuck off. And I'm like, no. Where is my worship?
I love dogs too. I was thinking cats just because I know apartments in London are asininely small.
They are quite tidgy, yes. And I have two lovely housemates, but it is a bit crowded when we're all in at the same time. So.
Oh my goodness. But I love your sense of humor though is it's
mostly sarcasm.
Yeah, but it's like British sarcasm. So if you don't catch it right as it's like
No,
You gotta
missed
catch it.
Try again.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
I like to. I think one of the reasons that because I throw quite a lot of I throw shit like that around quite quickly, and I think most of that is because there's no audience. I don't know if any of it's actually funny to anyone but me. So I'll just think if I throw enough jokes, something will make someone laugh, and then they'll go away thinking that was funny, and it won't matter whether it was 1 or 5 of them. It's all good.
I'm always the person that I just laugh at my own shit. I don't even care if nobody thinks it's funny. Like there could be an audience of 1 listening to this right now, and I'm just having the most amazing time. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, you know, like fuck it. If people catch my humor, they catch it. If not, sorry.
Definitely.
Not sorry.
Yeah, I had a marketing specialist or someone corner me at a networking event, and they were kind of like, "So, who's your target demographic? Who's your target audience?" And I was
Nobody.
Like, me. I do it because it makes me laugh. If someone else enjoys it, then brilliant. And they were like, "Oh," and then they just walked away. And I'm like, "Sorry." Apparently, I got given the wrong answer.
Right? And they're like, you shit in my oatmeal. What the fuck?
Yeah, because I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a plan. Just do it because it's fun. Make myself laugh. Why
They're
not?
like, wait, you're a podcaster? You're doing this shit for fun?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do all this hard work.
Right. The microphone will listen to me if nobody else does.
And yeah, I sit in my little cupboard, talk to myself, tell myself knob jokes every now and then, make myself laugh, and then put it on the internet for other people to enjoy. It's brilliant.
Exactly.
All I'm missing is that step 2, so that step 3 is profit. You know, I'm still not quite worked out what step 2 is yet, but it'll sort itself out. You know, eventually.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I think too. Like, you know, I think folks that have been doing this, especially as long as you've got awards under your belt. I mean, I
am very old, yes. You can't
first
see
of all,
it from there.
does it look old? No.
I was going to say, you can't see it from there, but there is hang on.
It's that red light district light that's got you good.
I've got all the filters on the cameras, and I've got 2 shelves of like serums and moisturizers and night cream, and I don't know what that is, but I've got some of that. And yeah, all of that kind of thing. And does it work? I don't know. This could all be like, I like to think I look a bit younger than I am, and it could be because I've got like a 7-step skincare process when I wake up and a 5-step process before I go to bed, or it could just be genetics and I'm spending a lot of money on really pointless crap.
Right.
But the only way to find out is to stop, and I dare in case it does actually do something. Do you know what I mean?
Just helping the corporate greed ladder of just products. They're like, yeah, you need it.
And I'm like, just cover me in it. Yeah, blend a baby and put it on my face if that's what it takes. But there was this one guy. He was a sweetheart. But we were making out and things, and he just kind of said, "Oh, your skin's a bit dry. Do you use a toner?" And I was like, I did, but I've run out. It's like, all right, yeah, you make sure you get some more toner because your skin's getting a bit dry. You've got like quite dry kind of T-zone. And I was like, okay, anything else? And he was like, yeah, you need to get a good anti-aging serum. And I'm like, I should be writing a list. I thought I was here to
tell them
touch
to
your
piss off.
penis. Yeah. Well, no, because I was like, no one had told me this before, and I'm like, okay, And then I didn't see him again for a while because I was like a little bit insecure. I was like, I've got to wait until I don't look so old anymore.
Right.
And then next time, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go away for 6 months, and you tell me if it's working. Yeah.
Let me use it up.
Yeah. So then when I saw him again and we hooked up again, he complimented me. He was like, "Oh wow, your skin looks amazing." I'm like, "Thanks, it worked!
Yes.
Hooray!"
I love it.
So yeah, that's my awful skincare routine. But yeah, I'm 38. I'm not. I don't want to. It's like
you're not old. I'm 37. We're the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were in your 20s. Oh, well done,
thank you. Well, thank you, because I really have been feeling extra old lately.
No. I've started getting targeted ads for like retirement plans, and and I'm 65, but I feel 30 with the new kind of Vita range of vitamins and shit, and I'm like, fuck off.
before we get completely carried away with
Bit late,
hook
I think.
dicks
Jesus.
and
No, we're still in
drink
first
of
gear,
choice-
baby. Yeah.
Scott's drink of choice was a gin and tonic. Well, it was actually a rhubarb gin and tonic, and apparently rhubarb is very hard to find around here. If you don't make it yourself, if you're not making the rhubarb syrup yourself, there's a lot of videos out there on how to make it yourself, but
No.
So
Nobody's got time for that. So
Scott brought out the fancy glass, so I had to join him in it. So cheers to you.
Cheers, my love. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. Yes.
And mine is in a can because I'm not classy enough to make it myself. So I bought some pre-mixed because, because with lockdown and everything, I can't go to a bar and have a cute barman make it for me. So next best thing is to buy it from a shop and
In a can.
Pretend. Yeah,
You got it from a Tesco and just
I did. I actually did.
it's frightening how much I know about London. I
had
a past life in London.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I can tell you, I learned apples and pears up the stairs, bruv. That was
all right, yeah.
That was some Cockney.
Yeah,
that was
some
terrible
Cockney rhyming
some Cockney.
Yeah.
Cockney.
Oh, I'm a Cockney.
There's
All that kind of
Cockney.
thing.
Apples and pears up the stairs, bruv.
I like it. It's like you could be an extra on EastEnders any day. Just
I fucking take that. I will take that, and I appreciate that. And I'm so mad I know about EastEnders. That's
It's the most miserable soap opera ever. It's very British.
it is. But to say that I am painfully British, I will take it.
Oh, yay.
So today we're going to play a spin-off of, so we used to have a game, Interrogation, but I figured it would be more fun to pre-pick some of these questions that are on the privacy deck. So I've made my homemade Post-it notes that look like this. And so, Scott on his podcast, as I said, he gets to it. He speaks some kinky truths out here and some sexy stories and some all of that. And I love that nothing is really off limits for Scott. So I figured what better way than to do a variation of our interrogation, mix it with privacy, and voila, you have some weird super interrogation. So we're going to play the interrogation. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So if we, and so I will also participate in interrogation. Since I don't really know these questions other than the preparation, I will pick up the deck, ask the question. And then, so if neither one of us want to answer the question, we will ask for our attorney. But if we answer, then the other one has to take a drink. Neither one of us will probably call an attorney, but it's good to
Shameless.
to lay that out there already. Oh goodness! So
You say that, and now we've kind of teed it up. You're going to hit me with something really kind of traumatic, and I'm either going to have to tell you an awful sob story, or just go against my word and call my attorney. So either way,
right, exactly.
buckle up.
Buckle up.
Yeah. All right. Hit me. I'm ready. All right.
And I will even do them face down like this, and then turn it like that.
Oh,
So
okay. Pretending you
the
don't know what's
first-
on the card. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm going to pick the one that, So the first question is for you. Have you had sex in
Yes.
a sling?
Oh. Excuse me. Oh Lord. As in, have I been in the sling having sex, or have I
In a
had sex
sling.
with someone who was in the sling? Because
a sling.
I have never had sex with myself in the sling. There is a photo, there is a little video of me in a sling on my Instagram, but I am fully dressed in that photo because a friend of mine works for Recon, the kind of kinky app that's a bit like Grindr, but it's more for like people into BDSM and the kinkier side of sex. And every few months before the world ended, they would do sex parties, and I would go along and help them like set everything up. So we had to build all the swings and the slings and the spanking horse and the piss troughs and everything else they were going to use for all these different kinks. And then we had to make sure that everything was ready and would work. Not so much the piss troughs. I mean, not my thing. Sorry, don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but piss is not for me. So with the slings, we had to kind of get in them and kind of like give them a good bounce just to make sure it wasn't going to fall apart as soon as a paying customer had a go on it. And they were all fine, but while I was in there, someone took a little video of me doing that, and it's on my Instagram. However, if you want, this is an exclusive. I haven't used this story in the podcast yet because I haven't found a way to weave it in. But because I helped them put the thing together for the event, they were like, oh, stay if you want, you can hang out and have some fun. I'm like, all right, well, fine. So I just had to kind of strip off to my underwear and my shoes, because you had to wear shoes for health and safety. So I was just in these like not particularly sexy pants, because I wasn't expecting to be anywhere sexy, so I was just wearing boring undies rather than my frilly knickers or anything. And so I was at this thing, and this really hot guy that I fancied for ages was in one of the slings. And I kind of noticed, and I kind of waved at him, and he waved back. And then, there was a queue to have a go on him, as there so often is. He was there, quite happy, and guys were coming up and giving him a good seeing to, and then wandering off. And there was a queue to do this. And I don't think I'm keen on queuing to have sex with someone. It seems a lot less personal than I'm used to. I quite like. It just seemed a bit like, oh, you're right, yep, you, yep, fine, thanks, done, off we go. Didn't want to do that, so I was letting him have his fun, and he was having a great time. A bit later on, I came back after an hour or so. I've been kind of like working the room and just kind of hanging out and trying to feel sexy in my little pants, which wasn't really working, but never mind. And I came back and there was no queue, so I kind of hopped on up, and I was like. Being British, of course, I was like, oh, do you mind? Would you mind awfully if I just pop this in there? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So I went to have a go, but I can't believe I'm sharing this. Because he'd been in there a while and he'd had several gentlemen pay him a visit, the floor underneath where the sling was covered in, let's say, fluid, because obviously you need quite a lot of lube when you're having a lot of sex. So there was a lot of lube and things on the floor, and so as I kind of went to begin proceedings, and start things off, I didn't realize I was standing in what was essentially a pool of lube on the floor. And so I went to push forwards, as one does when one's making sweet fuck with someone, and then because I was standing in a pool of lube, I just kind of slipped, fell forward, head-butted him in the groin, and fell face first into the lube on the floor. So I just kind of went, whoa! Bonk, and then like splat on. So he's trying to double up in pain, but he can't because he's in a sling. I'm on the floor drowning in lube and jizz, and both of us are just having. My night's gone from being really good to really bad extremely quickly. So yeah, bless him. I think he had to have a rest after that. I ruined his night for a good half an hour or so. He couldn't do anything but like sit down and have his eyes water. I felt very bad, and I was covered in jizz. I didn't even get to have a go. So yeah, there's an exclusive story for you.
That was a super exclusive.
You can see why my mum doesn't need to hear this, can't you? I mean,
right, Mum. I hope that you really did hit the pause button. I love it. You know, we're speaking of Mum and being with guys and all that other good stuff. You're just to give folks kind of a little background. You're from a small mining village, and your grandfather was technically, is it ninth generation of miners that your grandfather?
Yeah,
and,
all miners
and that
as far
was,
back as anyone can tell. Yeah,
yeah, and
well
so
done.
and in North England, and it was more of like a macho watch football kind of vibe, and you felt lonely growing up, and you felt different than others. And then at 13, you joined a theater group. Not so much because you were shy, but you noticed the theater kids could talk
Where
to people
are you getting
with
this from?
that you could
reading
that
my
you could-
diaries.
right? In your deep dark diaries. You felt like you could talk, that the theater kids could talk to people with so much ease and confidence. How did joining help you with your coming out journey, and how did you come out?
Oh wow.
We went from sliding in a
we went from
pullages
sex parties,
to what was your coming out story?
Wow. Well, yeah, like the theatre kids, I think we were all a little bit misfits-y, which was nice because I'd never really done the playing football and let's, like beer and all that. So, yeah, I was only 13, but still, when you don't quite fit in, you get that vibe already. So it was nice to find a group of people that I could hang out with, and I genuinely would look forward to the weekend. So I'd get through Monday to Friday at school, and it wasn't awful. I wasn't like particularly bullied. I just didn't have a good group that I kind of really gelled with. But then meeting these theatre kids where we could all hang out, and it'd be like, oh yeah, they're all a bit like me, and it's fun, and it's a bit more. We don't talk about football all the time. We can actually like hang out, and yeah, I made some best mates, and we'd hang out every weekend for the best part of 5 or 6 years. It was great. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, but then, I mean, did that help with my coming out? I suppose so. I mean, it definitely gave me some confidence and let me know that I didn't have to be, like, hiding by myself, that I could talk to people and all that that I could actually talk to people and things like that. So that was good. And, I mean, I must have, I definitely came out to them at some point, but I think my best mate at the time was like, it was a bit of a scandal going around that he'd kissed a boy in some in the like the alternative club night on a Tuesday night. They used to do like rock and indie music, and that was the alternative night, and it was great fun, which we used to sneak into if we could when we were like 16, because we weren't supposed to be there. And there was this big scandal that he'd had one kiss with a boy at some point and decided he didn't like it. And I think in true drama club style, I was like, yeah, so everyone kisses boys. That's fine. We like kissing boys.
Right.
I don't see why he's getting all the attention. Yeah. And so that was part of it. And I think it just kind of like, it was, there must have been some of those, those kind of acting, half therapy, half acting training games where you're like talking about your authentic self and feeling a true emotion and learning to perform it and shit like that. Probably helped. It was probably therapy in disguise. Yeah. But it was good fun. I loved it. The only problem is, and this is part of the problem with, not part of the problem, but it's one of the things with the podcast, is I have a really crappy memory. Like, my memory is really, really bad. So it's great when I'm recording a podcast because I have the script pretty much, I don't have it all written. I have kind of bullet points. And so I know where I'm going and I know how to get from one point to the next. And I can I know what the story is because obviously it's my story. And I know how to get there, and I know how to chuck a few jokes in to get there. But to remember someone else's script and like know what I'm supposed to say and say it right so that the other person has their cue out of it as well, not a chance. So I was a very bad actor. And mostly I would just be like, what? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And someone would look at me and like, I'd have to be like, oh, I've forgotten the rest of it. And then they'd have to kind of, as I think you were trying to say, and kind of save me. And it was awful. But I think there's definitely something for, and this came back again when I started doing bad stand-up, is if you're used to being to embarrassing yourself on stage or fucking something up royally, and yet you still come back again to do it again. There's something quite, it's like, yeah, I didn't die. I'm going to try again tomorrow. Let's see what happens. And I think it's quite a useful skill to have, I think. Yeah. And so that's how I came out to some of my friends. To my parents, I sent I was at university, so I would have been 20 at this point. I come out to everyone else. My parents are always the last ones. Always. My parents were the last ones I was going to tell. And so I was at university, and I'd just been voted head of the LGBT society, the kind of like welfare society. All we really did was meet up every Thursday night in the pub, but that was nice. That was fun, and try and convince the university to give us funds to go and get drunk at Pride in a big city somewhere, because it was a tiny university in the middle of nowhere. And so I decided that having been voted head of this LGBT society was the best time to come out to my parents, because I might be gay, but at least I was popular, and that was the kind of thinking that I went with it. So I decided to text them, because this was 2003, and texting was. I'm a millennial. Like, texting's better than talking. I don't want a phone call.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will sit and stare at my phone, and like one of my friends doesn't get this, and he rings. He's a really big extrovert, and he's lovely. I love him to bits, but he does ring me without warning, and I will sit there with the phone in my hand and wait for him to stop ringing me, and then he'll text me and go, "Hey, I tried to call," and I'm like, "Yes, I know. what do you want?"
Exactly.
He's like, "Are you free?" I'm like, "Yes, I am, but please tell me what you want before I answer the phone." Like,
give me a heads up that you're going to give me a call.
Just give me 5 minutes. I need to kind of focus and center and make a cup of tea.
Right.
And so I text them and said this, and straight away my mum's text back and just said, "Well done, son. If you're the head of the society, does that mean you get first pick? P.S. I've known since you were 5." And I'm like, that's lovely, and thank you, and thank you, Mum. Love you, Mum. And then I grew up and nearly drowned in a pool of lube and jizz.
Right.
But yeah, so that was really sweet and lovely and loving, and they're very loving and supportive. And my dad would always said the same kind of thing. I'm like, "You've known since I was 5. Could someone have mentioned it to me? Save me a couple of really awkward girlfriends or something." I mean, Jesus. But never mind.
So you're kind of like, I was going to say, are you kind of like a gold star gay? But no, you just mentioned you had a couple of girlfriends.
Yeah.
I would have saved you
I had a couple of girlfriends. Yeah, and it was awkward. I mean, I'm told by friends of those girlfriends, because you know how gossipy teenage girls are.
Oh, yes.
I'm told that I had a reputation among the ladies for being very good in bed, which was just because I was a horny teenager, but it didn't really do a lot for me, so I could just go for hours, and then you're like, yeah, this is fine, feels nice, but it's not getting me anywhere. And when you're like 16, 17, you've got a perma boner anyway, so it just kind of like
you can brush up against the wall, and it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I need a 2 or 3 day run up. I need to know it's coming. I need to clear my diary. I need to take my hands behind my back to leave it alone for a couple of days. But no, and so had I known earlier, I could have saved myself some really awkward sexual encounters. But never mind.
It's all right. We just chalk it up to the hoe life. That's what I do.
Yeah,
just call it a hoe life. Just say, I was young and I was a hoe.
I think everyone should have a go at everything. Like, I'm still not against vaginas and things. It's been a very long time, but there is a non-binary vagina owner that I know who is always they're always flirting with me, and I'm not sure how much of it is playful and how much of it is actually wanting to hook up. They did say, and this is the worrying thing. They said, when me and my wife split up, it wasn't if, it was when. And that's like I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm down, but that
Yeah.
seems like you're planning a little bit far ahead there.
Wow. They're like,
So-
here's the heads up. I'm giving you a heads up now.
Yeah.
Get that shit ready because the
And,
wife
you know,
and wow.
Yeah. But I'm very into them. I would happily give that a go because we have this great vibe. It's very sexy. It's very kind of like, yeah, why not? And they seem fun. So I would definitely be down for having another go. It's been 20 odd years. I mean, yeah. But that said, I just thinking, I haven't heard Gold Star gay in a very long time. I would in fact be a platinum gay. I'd be a platinum gay as I was born by a cesarean section. So and apart from those two awkward girlfriends when I was 16, I would have been away from a vagine entirely. I would never have been anywhere near one.
Yes,
and I think that would be a shame because it's fun. It's fun to kind of like find these things out, isn't it? And,
absolutely. I completely
and every now and then
agree.
just go back and check. Just be like, yeah, okay, that was fun.
What's your type? Like for folks that are listening and they're like, ooh, I mean, Scott sounds like a whole snack and then some. Like, what is your type? Like, we're talking about
just saying.
We're talking about, internally.
I shouldn't say that. You're gonna be very disappointed.
Big dick.
No, it's. Anyway, sorry. My type. I usually joke and say that my type is waiters and baristas. But that's because they're paid to be nice to me and they give me food and coffee. And that's what I want in my life, is an army of people waiting to give me a compliment and some caffeine. But I think the thing that I look for, if I'm looking for a gentleman, I for more than just 20 minutes sweaty fun times, then I want someone that I can get excited. I want to be excited to see them. I want to think, oh, cool, it's 4:00. Oh, I'm seeing Dudar at 6:30, not long left, and actually be excited rather than just, oh, it's you again. Okay, hi, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. That kind of, it's nice to see you. It's better than spending a day on my own, but not by much. I want to step that up. I want to be really keen to spend time with someone. And maybe that's still possible. I like to think it is. I don't like to think that, at nearly 40, all the excitement's gone and I've just got to find one that I can make do with and just settle, because that sounds depressing.
I feel like it's you're getting there. They're close.
Okay.
They're gonna find you. They're gonna slide in your DMs. They're gonna they're gonna shoot their best shot, and hopefully they make you laugh. Because I'm trying to figure out like what's an opening line? Like what's a good opening line?
Oh Lord,
to slide in your DMs of.
See, the one I use the most in real life, because for me, if I'm in a queer space or a gay bar or whatever, the best place to go if you're looking to chat someone up is the smoking area, because the music's not as loud. Everyone's just kind of standing around. You don't have to be like, hi, what? Or anything like that. You can actually have a conversation. And my favorite kind of opening line is usually something like, hi, sorry, you look really familiar. Have we met before? Because it's like it's just a kind of, oh, it's bugging me. Like, I saw you earlier, and it's I'm not sure where I know you from. And if you're feeling in the mood, I found I can add a little bit more to that. I'm like, do you go to my gym? Do you go to the Shoreditch gym? Blah blah blah. Because then I'm like. I can also just like draw attention to the guns and be like, oh yeah, I'm there every day. Flex. Yeah.
And they're like, oh, let me touch. You'd be like, did you purchase to the gun show? Just
and then
y'all,
of course,
if you
they
see
go,
his pictures out here, Scott has fucking muscles. I
mean, I did. Like, lockdown's kind of killed them. I've been really lazy, like, with the gyms closed. Like, the first, because this is our third lockdown now. And the first one, I was, the gyms were open really late. Like, they didn't close the gyms, because obviously gyms have no germs in them. Everyone knows that. That's just science, apparently. So, yeah, I was going to the gym a lot for most of lockdown, but then when they closed, I was being really good about working out at home. Only it didn't because I don't have any weights or I don't have like a proper equipment, I was just like lifting a bag full of books. Or like I'd bring home like tins of beans and stuff from the supermarket, and then just kind of like not take them out the bags and start flexing with them and stuff, which is not the same. So it just didn't help. And so this time I've just gone, fuck it, I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to sit on my hairy ass and I'm going to get fat. And I'll deal with it when the gym's open again, which actually is next week. So not long left.
Is it opening back up? I feel like I like talk shit with some of the folks that I know that are in England and London, especially because I know you guys have kind of been on the same kind of lockdown, but like yours has been like a very weird kind of lockdown. Like, so I mean, and now there's this new strand. Like, what are the protocols that they're even taking out there?
I mean,
because you guys have like the new shit going on.
Yeah, I think the best way to think of it is like the Muppets. You know how like they're all just kind of like bouncing around. Like, think the Swedish Chef. That's the guy we've got in charge. Just an idiot who will flail his arms around. You know how you remember that guy that you guys had that we're all trying to forget about now?
Oh God, the one. Troll face. Yes,
that's
troll.
Him, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know how yours is gone now, and you can kind of get back to being a grown-up country. We've kept ours, and it's terrifying. But yeah, so no, we're opening up again, which we've done twice before, and it went horribly both times. So it's gonna happen again. But hey, at least the gym's all reopened, so I can go and get some exercise in. And the best, and just like just keep away from. It's the same as it was before. Like. I'll see some friends. I'll not get too close. I'm very unlikely to be sucking any dick in the near future, which is a bit of a shame. But hey,
you're gonna need to like test them, like, but it's like gonna be like, can I get your COVID test? Can I get your fucking vaccine papers before we do this?
I mean, Grindr already has has a little thing that you can set that's like the last time I had a HIV test was, and then you put the month and the year in, which is really handy. It's very good. So now we need another line that just says, and my COVID test was negative.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they need. They need that. Oh, shit. Yeah. You and I, Grindr. What's the like wildest, I have like so many questions when it comes to the world of Grindr, because that shit is so. I'll just be like, I'll like go hanging out with like my gay boyfriends, guy friends, and they're like on Grindr, and they're just like, oh, there's some dick like close by, like it's like a dick tracker, right? Like what? But then it's like, okay, we meet you at the club, and then they act like really funny, really weird, really sketchy. Like, what's the weirdest encounter that you've had from Grindr?
There have been so many. I think the weirdest one that comes to mind, and it's just because I walked past his flat, not even like that flat. I doubt he lives there anymore. This was years and years ago. But I walked past the flat where the building where it happened not so long ago. Was this guy? He seemed fine. He seemed nice, and he invited me around. And he was a nice boy, but he was staying in what was very clearly an old lady's flat. Like, it was decorated, there were like little figurines, and it was just very, very, there were doilies. The whole thing looked like an old lady's flat.
Was he a sugar baby? What happened?
No, I didn't ask, but the thing that occurred to me as I had my mouth full was that there was space in the room where you would have had one of those like motorized bed things that kind of goes up and down, but the bed wasn't there anymore. So his nan was had gone into care or had died, and he was just living in the house to kind of like so that it didn't get broken into.
To collect that shit. Oh shit.
Yeah, just to look after it. And that occurred to me as I had my mouthful of this lovely young man, and he was a nice boy, but it really put me off. Like I as soon as that occurred to me, and I just felt so creepy. I had to kind of just crank everything up a couple of gears and get it all over because it needed to be done because I did not want to be in there anymore. It just felt wrong. It felt so wrong, and just very, very.
You're like,
yeah.
you're like fucking Nan's gonna walk in any moment.
Yeah. Or like her ghost is gonna drift through a wall.
Her spirit's gonna be like, oh.
Yeah, and there's me on my knees in front of her grandson, just noshing him off. I thought, no, we can. Bless her. I mean, I hope that she took some comfort in knowing that I was pleasing him in his hour of sadness, but. Oh no, that one's up there with them. Yeah,
that one's up there. Yeah, that is like a little extra. Like that is like really up there with like creepy moments.
I don't know why these things happen to me,
but I love it because then you share. You will overly share, and I love that you overly share. Because I feel like that's a different level of being vulnerable and sharing your vulnerability and getting folks to feel comfortable in that space to be vulnerable with you. Like, what was the defining moment for you to even create the podcast? Probably True.
Oh, let me think. I think part of it was I was looking for. This was back before podcasts got big, because originally it was going to be a YouTube channel rather than a podcast. But there were several reasons that I didn't go into YouTubing. The main ones were equipment's expensive. I don't know how to use any of it, and it seemed stupid to buy a lot of equipment that I couldn't use. I think mainly it was looking around trying to find people on YouTube who were talking about the things that I wanted to talk about and that I wanted to see myself represented. And there are some great YouTubers out there. This was a few years ago, so there weren't as many. But it was kind of Tyler Oakley and a couple of British ones who were all, I don't know if they were aimed a little bit younger, but they're a lot cleaner, a lot more sanitized. I think that's a lot to do with the way YouTube works, because if you're explicit, they don't let you monetize, so you can't make any money off it, which means you can't you can't turn it into a job if you're doing the explicit stuff. Possibly, I don't know. But I hadn't seen anyone out there that was talking about the kind of things that I wanted to talk about, like going out cruising or group sex or like masturbating too much. And when they were talking about those things, it was very much in a kind of masturbation is good. Everyone should do that. This is a penis. This is a vagina. People do it in different ways. Some people like to watch porn. Some people like to use their imagination. You know, that kind of thing. And it was all a bit like, yes, all right, but like, why aren't we talking about like doing it too much or doing it wrong or getting caught doing it and things like that? And because it was all stuff that I'd had experience of that no one seemed to be talking about. And I knew I couldn't, and I would talk about these things with my friends, and so I knew I wasn't the only one having these experiences, but we weren't sharing them in a way that felt good. And obviously I didn't want to shame anyone. There's no shame at all in any of it. It's one of the things that I'm proud of is the stuff I write about and the jokes that I tell. It's difficult. It's very easy to write jokes with if you're shaming someone or you're taking the piss. If I did that, it's about me, and it's mostly done with love. I'm very conscious of keeping it fun and silly and uplifting where I can. And so I was like, all right, there must be a way to talk about this kind of stuff and like without any kind of shame and without that. Oh no, that's not something we talk about. No, we can't talk about that. No. Because, you know, they're just bodies. It's body stuff, you know? Sometimes when you stick a willy up a bum, you end up with poo everywhere. It's a thing that happens, you know? It's a body thing. And I don't know very much, but I know that vagina's also quite messy, apparently. And it's all these things that we don't talk about. And like I found out quite recently about vaginas that it's not just like periods and infections and things, but there's just a general kind of lubrication that occasionally just kind of happens. And I'm like, this is never talked about. I'm 30. I think this was last year. I was 37 when I found out about that there's sometimes just a bit of like lady goo, and that's a thing. And that's normal and good. Do girls talk about it amongst themselves? Maybe. Should they mention it to boys? Probably. And I'm not gonna, because this is why I get people on my podcast. You'll have to come on my show and talk about
I'm so
your
down.
vagina.
I'm so right. I will talk about my vagine.
Yes, your vagine, as the French
My
put it, le
vagine.
vagine. Well, you can talk about whatever you want, but this is the thing. It's like
we'll
there
talk
shouldn't
about
be
Elmo dicks and vagine.
yes. Oh my god! And so that was kind of where I was coming. That's where if this thing doesn't exist, and I wish it had, then there must be other people out there who will find it, who will get something from me talking about these things. And there are. I get messages all the time in my DMs and emails and stuff saying, "I'm really glad your show's out there because I'd never found anything that talked to me, or that I thought I was weird because blah blah blah, but hearing you talk about it, I'm glad it's not just me." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's everyone. We just pretend it's not.
Yeah.
Life is short. We're all gonna die. We might as well be honest about the things that we do that we enjoy. And
I agree.
why not?
I like that.
And if we can
I
laugh
like
at
that.
ourselves in the process, then that's got to be healthy. I think. Hopefully. I mean.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper than therapy. I can't afford therapy. I'll sit in a cupboard and tell knob jokes for 10 minutes. That'll make me feel better. That's why I do it every week.
Yeah, the podcast really is like a form of therapy and like
exactly.
conversing with another human being and another soul just to kind of bounce all of that information off of. And, there's so many folks in the LGBTQ plus community that are grappling with these issues alone. As much as there's some filth and the core of the show is that it's intended to remind queer people all over the world that whatever life throws at them, they're not alone. Who reminds Scott?
Oh.
How do you stay balanced while giving? And I know we kind of discussed like the podcast kind of does, but is there someone or is there a different thing for you that keeps you balanced while giving so much of yourself?
No, I'm a mess. No, not in the way, because I grew up with the Friends, the TV show. I did grow up with Friends. I wasn't like completely alone, and I had this quite tight knit group when we were teenagers. When I was with the theatre kids, and then I got to university, and the only LGBT people around were. There were two groups. There was the bitchy Queenie gays who hated me because I was overweight and didn't and not much of a dresser. Excuse me. Oh, this is the gin. This is me starting.
This is the gin coming through.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm off on a rant. Oh dear. And then there was the kind of awkward. Like socially awkward kind of like nerdy gays who now I'm sure I would love to be friends with, but back then I was just very frustrated because I wanted the cool gays to like me, and so I didn't want to be friends with the nerdy gays because if I was friends with the nerdy gays I wasn't a cool gay, and all this kind of toxic shit like it was Mean Girls or something awful, and so yeah, there was quite a period where I didn't have that close. Definitely not quite close gay friends as much as I would have liked. And part of that was my own fault. Like, I'm sure after a while it becomes a bit of a defense mechanism to keep people at arm's length and all that kind of thing. So I'd had that when I was younger. Now I don't have a close-knit group. I would like one, but at the moment I have 3 or 4 friends that are quite close to me, but not to each other. So I don't have a little group that I hang out with, that I go to brunch with on weekends and stuff like that. Sadly, I would love that.
I think you're stuck with me now. But
I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I'm more than happy for that. It's a bit of a shame you're in LA when I'm in London.
I'll be your American
but, hey.
friend. Yeah, your LA friend.
I mean, I used to have a friend in San Francisco, so that's only up the road. I could have come to visit, but he's moved to Portland now, so he's a little bit further away. but never mind. Yes, I love him very dearly. But yes, no. So I and this is kind of this is my quest now, is to find my tribe. I have my tribe. I have my close friends that I can talk to, and that I make a point of sharing more than perhaps is comfortable, and they do the same, more or less. But I make a point of it because everyone needs that, I think, and especially with the Pandorica and Mercury and Gatorade and all that, we need to be looking out for each other and talk about it. So if someone says hi, if one of my friends says, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "Well," and then there'll be a 10-minute conversation about.
Well, let me tell you.
Sit down, Cos. This is going to take a minute.
This is going to take quite some time.
Yes, grab a drink. You take the phone off the hook. But so I have them. They're good friends, but they're not a close-knit group. So I was thinking, actually, one of the things that I want to do, because I've never had a surprise birthday party. So I'm telling you this because I'm fairly certain that none of them will. None of them listen to my podcast, so I'm fairly certain none of them will listen to me talking to you. I hope they do, because I love your show and I would recommend it to them.
Oh, thank you.
I was about to say I would recommend it to anyone, but the only people listening to your show already, so they know how good you are. They don't need me to say it. Anyway,
or your folks that support you. So
yeah. But I was thinking I would start a WhatsApp group and call and just name it something random. Invite all of my friends into it, then change the name to Scott's Surprise Birthday Party, and then remove myself and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Just be like, yep.
Well, put me on there and I'll be like, listen, guys, this is what's going on. I've been sent here to moderate y'all getting your shit together.
And he wants cake. He wants strippers. Make it happen.
Right. What kind of cake? Just so we know. The flavor of the cake is very important now.
This is true. I mean, Scott Loves Cake is my Instagram handle. Go stalk me on Insta if you want, listeners. That's true. It's not that interesting, but I do my best. I like a good sponge cake. I'm quite easy to please.
Okay. Not like a carrot cake or a chocolate cake.
Carrot cake's nice. I'm not big on chocolate cake. Sponge cake with a nice cream and jam filling. Proper English, Great British Bake-Off kind of thing.
That's some real English shit right there. For that.
Mary Berry style. That's what I want. Proper.
Listen, those are specific. So I'm going to send that whole WhatsApp group to this link.
I mean, that's it. Send them this Amazon wish list. Get the whole thing. Yeah.
I'll let them know. This is his words. He dropped this gem for this specific occasion.
Yes.
I love it. When is your birthday?
My birthday is the 31st of January, so I've just missed it. So
you
just missed it. I was there.
Aquarius?
I am an Aquarius, yes.
Ooh.
But
okay.
I'm an Aquarius. I have Virgo in my moon and Taurus rising. If you want to get really fucking homosexual about this, I can talk about it.
I love it.
I used to be a big hippie. Like when I was at university, I had very long hair. I was teaching meditation classes. I was doing Reiki and tarot readings and all that stuff. Yeah.
I realized we only asked one question from interrogation.
I know. We got. Sorry, that was my fault. Ask another one.
Okay.
Ask me more. Ask me more.
I'm like, okay.
Or are we done?
Like, I'm like. You just have to take me down this road and I'll go with you. Just you don't have to ask me too many questions. Okay, so for you, do you prefer to be on top?
Ooh. Yes, I do. Although, I think it usually yes. I like to feel like I'm in control. I think I have some trust issues, probably. But then I think that might be an intimacy thing more than anything else. Like if I know someone well enough and I know that they know what they're doing, then I can start to let that go. I think that's definitely a trust thing. And one of my old boyfriends, my first ever boyfriend, bless his sweetheart, he loved me. He was a little bit clingy. He kind of scared me because I was. But he was a lovely boy. And he used to love like riding me, which I mean, I was going to say which was fine, but it really wasn't because he didn't really know what he was doing. And like he kept bending it and then just kind of like bouncing up and down on it and it's bending. I'm like, it's going to break. It really hurts. Please stop.
Please stop. You're going to break my dick.
Ow. So since then, and he would do that a lot because he really liked it. And I'm like, I just had to kind of grip my teeth and get through it. And so since then, I've had this kind of phobia of anyone riding me for very long. And like people are like, oh, I want to tie you down and ride that dick. And I'm like, no, thank you, no. Thank you for the compliment, but let's find another way of doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Because manners in sex. You can be polite while you're turning someone down for sex. Thank you, but no. Exactly.
Thank you, but no, thank you.
Exactly. What about you? What about you? Do you like being on top? See, I've been doing a lot of talking.
I'm the power. I've got the strap on and this.
Oh
He said, "Oh my." Do tell me more. Listen more on Probably True. Let's see. I was like, oh wow. Are you ready to be tied up and flogged?
Oh, are you offering?
Privacy does not have any fucking chill.
Wow.
I mean, if you make it here, I can make some time.
I've never actually tried it. I'm not really sure I'm going to enjoy it, but I don't know because I haven't tried it, and so it would be wrong of me to say yes or no having not tried it. So it's something that's on the list. I think it's one of those things where I would need to know and trust the guy that I'm giving the flogging stick or whatever they call it. What do they call a flogging stick? A whip?
I don't know. Is it a paddle? Maybe a paddle? Because it's it's like a wooden.
Oh, it's like a board type. Yes, it's a paddle.
I think it's like a board, right? Yeah.
And I've seen people really enjoy that, and good for them. I don't like in theory, it doesn't seem like it would do anything for me. But I also don't want to just find a random on Grindr and go, "Hey, can you hit me, please?
Right.
I want to see if I like it."
Can you just hit me and tie me up really quickly?
Yeah. So I am open to experimentation once we've got some level of, once the vibe is there, once the trust is there, then certainly. Till then, thank you, but no.
Thank you, but
keep it on the list.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll keep that on the list for later.
Right?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
What's the wildest like story you've heard on your podcast? Because y'all really go there. You guys take it there.
Yeah, that's why I really, because I was a little bit worried when I started having guests on that they were going to be all a little bit boring and a little bit, and then like the first 4 or 5 were absolutely brilliant. Like one guy dreamt that Jesus told him to fuck his friend. Someone else, that was one of the first ones. That was the first one I ever recorded. I think that's the second one on the thing, but it was the first one I recorded. He was in a hardcore religious kind of upbringing in the deep south in America, and he kept dreaming that Jesus was telling him to do his friend up the bum. And I mean, if Jesus tells you, then you really got to listen, haven't you?
You have to do it. You have to.
I think, but the story I love the most is a friend. Well, he's a friend of mine now. This is how I met him. He came on the show to talk about a guy who had a fetish for. It's not how it sounds to start with. He had a fetish for donkeys, but not how you think.
Oh, okay.
His fetish was pretending he was a donkey or being convinced that he was himself a donkey.
So was it kind of like cosplay a little bit?
A little bit, but there was, as far as I know, there was no costume. It was the scene that he described it as was I don't know if you remember because it was a while ago, but in Pinocchio, there's the bit where Pinocchio and the boys go to Pleasure Island or something, and they're kind of playing pool and smoking cigars and drinking beer, and they all get turned into beasts and kind of taken away by the circus or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And it was that kind of transformation that this guy loved. And my friend's like, all right, well, I'm a storyteller. I can do this. And he's like, oh, wow, look at your hands. Your knuckles are folding in, and they're turning into hooves, and your ears are sprouting out the top of your head. Wow, what's happening? And apparently that went down very well. Like they had a very fun time. And so I, as he told me on the story, like. It was exactly what he wanted, and there was bucking with a B. Yeah, and like rolling around on the floor and all sorts, and obviously if you're a donkey you don't need clothes, so off the coat and stuff like that. It's I know.
Oh shit!
But yeah, and that's all up there if you want to have a listen. That was Matt Baum, who is absolutely adorable and does a lot of YouTube stuff. He's based in Seattle, I think, but he's a sweetheart.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I will put a good word. I'll recommend you to him so you two can work together.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the more and more that I do this this show, I really want to bridge the LGBTQ plus community from every community, whether it's across the pond, New York, LA. Like, oh, is that number 3?
This is number 3. Yeah.
Oh shit!
I actually thought I shouldn't.
Oh shit! No,
I thought
let's
I shouldn't,
do it.
but then it's Friday night. Why
it's
not?
Friday. Do you have somewhere to be?
Gotta get down on Friday. No, like it's already. I mean, if I weren't talking to you, I would already be in bed by now. Because it's 11 p.m. here. So
you're staying up late. This is really technically now you've entered the after dark section of Jam.
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really want this to be a space to bridge the LGBTQ plus communities together, whether it's across the pond. I'm talking to folks in there's another person that's in London, but they're dealing with more of like Muslim and Arabic LGBTQ folks. I want folks to really understand we really all in the same community, not just based off of where we live, where we go to Pride, where we celebrate. Like, we're celebrated everywhere. Not too long ago, I spoke with coming out coaches. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing. Right. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. That was so cool. We have bonded deeply right now. I don't know if it's the gayness and the rainbows or the gin or just the energy, but I feel your energy from here. So this is like really, yes. Fucking spirit fingers out here. This is amazing. But, for folks that are out there and they feel alone and you try to do a YouTube video, what was your hypotheses or your internal, what you felt when you tried to go the YouTube route of sharing to the masses? Because I don't know what it is about YouTube, but I feel like it gets more play, more hits, right? It's easier to stumble across some shit on YouTube. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a visual thumbnail, alluring clickbait type of shit or what it is, but I feel like there is more folks that are willing to listen and to pay attention on YouTube than if they were to scroll into just some audio candy like via podcast. What were your findings? Because I thought that your opinion was so interesting, and I remembered that we hadn't discussed it really.
Yes.
Necessarily in length, but share with the folks kind of what your feeling was, and can we possibly see you some more on YouTube?
I think
putting
so.
it in the submission box.
It's definitely something I want to look at again. I think when I first started out, one of the things was because everything is centralized, everything is on YouTube. It does do that thing where it shows you videos that are similar to the ones you've been watching. So you do discover a lot of new stuff just by looking for the things that you like. You don't get that as much with podcasts at all. But part of the problem with YouTube, and I think this is what the thing that you're alluding to, but tell me if I'm wrong, was I've spoken to a few people who do it, and it becomes a grind. It stops being fun because YouTube has all these algorithms, and if you're not posting regularly all the time, if you're not constantly putting out new content, you start to get discovered less. You get shoved further down the ranking for someone else who is churning the shit out all the time. And I didn't want what I was doing to be a thing where I knew I had to get 3 videos out a week. It doesn't matter what they're about as long as there's a video out, because that's what YouTube needs. And that's exhausting, and it stops it being fun very, very quickly. And that was part of the main reason that I've been doing this for 5 years now, is because I really enjoy it. There's a joy in it. The reason that I keep coming back to it is it's not because it doesn't make me any money. It's not because I'd love if it did. You know, if something like this could pay my bills, I'd be a very happy boy. But it's a creative outlet, yes, but also there's a joy in it. I do this as much as I do. I'm on 120 episodes now. I think it's because it's fun. It's because if I can make the world a better place and also make myself laugh about dick jokes and farting and stuff like that in the meantime, because I'm basically just a child, then yeah, why not? Why not do that and have some fun with it? So yeah, it's definitely that's one of the reasons that I've kept away from YouTube, and also like editing videos quite hard, and I'm not that clever. But it's something I want to look at in the future. I think it's time that I did, because why not? But yeah. We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, so it was that I wanted to do it because I wanted to, rather than because I knew if I didn't, then YouTube would punish me, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm a mess, but what I can do is I can help people ask the right questions. I'm not here to give you an answer for this is how to be the best gay you can be. This is how to do it. Yeah. All I can do is make you think. I can't even make you think. All I can do is tell you a stupid story. If that makes you think, or if that somehow clicks or resonates or does something, then brilliant. That's great. Yeah. And I get DMs and stuff saying that people like I said, oh wow, I've never thought about it like that. Oh, no one's ever said it. No one's ever articulated what I was feeling in a way that made sense to me. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want. Oh, and every time I get a message like that, it makes me cry. I get them because they come up on my phone, and I'll be in the street with an arm full of shopping or something, or out with a friend just having a coffee, and I'll be like, and I'll be like, has someone died? And I'm like, no, it's a good thing. And yeah.
But I think it's important for folks, especially in the community, to know you don't have to follow that influencer, LGBTQ influencer space. There is other folks that you can probably relate to that are doing a podcast or doing something very low key, and you just have to look for that. I feel like there's this expectation of gay, and then there's, if you don't meet gay, you need to either be this, and this, but there's not so much this. But this doesn't mean that you're not still up here, you know? It's just you don't get that same notoriety.
Yeah, definitely.
In the YouTube
I think,
verse.
Excuse me. That's true of not just YouTube. That's true of everything. It's like there's this way to be gay that is the correct way of doing things, and I'm doing air quotes around all of that because of course there isn't. We're all different.
Air quotes.
But
quote,
yeah.
end quote.
But it was very much. When I was growing up, like all the gay magazines would have these skinny white guys with abs in their pants, with these beautiful, flawless skin, straight white teeth, all that kind of thing, all laughing and having fun. And that was never me. I was a podgy child with like wonky teeth and bad skin and like all of that. And and it took a long time to and I mean like at least I had the white thing going for me. So that's one level of estrangement from this ideal that I didn't have, which, is a privilege, and I need to keep reminding myself
the white
of that.
privilege.
Oh yeah. But for all the others, it was like I didn't feel represented. I didn't feel seen because I wasn't like that, and struggling for years, and like all of that kind of. I didn't realize at the time how much I was judging myself for not looking like that kind of like defined, skinny, in his pants, laughing with his white teeth, kind of, and all of that. Yeah, and you don't need to look like that. It's mostly unattainable to even try and look like that, because like a lot of that's genetics, and that was one of the things that that came up quite a lot when I was because I was a bit chunky when I was at. Actually, to be honest, I weighed about the same as I do now, but now I have like 2 hours in the gym 5 times a week, so it's mostly muscle. Whereas back in the day, it was mostly Ben and Jerry's, But I'm also quite barrel chested. I've got a very large rib cage, which I love now. But
those are large pectorals.
Yeah, I got my titties, big old titties.
Big old hairy titties.
Yeah, my big hairy titties. And
welcome to Big Hairy Titties with Scott Flashheart.
Yeah, give it a bit of that. And so even in photos with my friends who were skinny, like Twinkie type boys, I looked bigger than all of them. I stood out to me, maybe not as much to everyone else, but to me, I looked enormous next to them. And it took me a long time to be kind of like, yeah, I am enormous. That's kind of, there's nothing I can do about that. That's literally how I'm built. There's no way around that. No dieting or exercise is going to change the fact that I've got a very broad chest. And now I'm fine with that, but it took a while. And I think, I forgot where I was going with this, but I think it was, I think the point I was going to make all that time ago was that there was no representation for that kind of thing. And it would have been nice to see more than just the skinny white twinks. It would be nice to see, and things are getting better, slowly, very slowly. But yeah, I was missing that role model, and that's why I do what I do more as well, is because I want to be able to say, hey, I'm a bit of a mess, and that's okay. No one's life is perfect. No one lives on Instagram. That's all. They're all posed. They're all stupid. Even like the most perfect, amazing looking people in there. It's all just a filter. It's all just a
They've
show.
all got their own shit. They've all got their own shit that they deal with. I mean, you created the Queer Podcast Network. What was kind of the triggering point for that? Like, what made you want to start that? I mean, you're out here award winning. What?
This was the thing. That's it exactly. Is I was out here award winning, and I'm like, I learned a lot because I was quite self-taught because there was no one around anyone, because I would have had to pay a lot of money to like some podcast coach to take me through it all, and I do offer those services now. But I also know that like for a lot of people, this isn't. You don't have the money to do that kind of shit. This isn't. This isn't something that you can spunk 200 or 300 quid on before you've even started, like if at all ever. And so I wanted to give something back. I wanted to pay it forward and help people and to be there for the people when there'd been no one there for me. But then that's what everything I do is about, really. It's like the message "you are not alone" is there because for a long time I felt like I was, and I don't want anyone else to have to deal with that. We're getting to the emotional, the raw bit now. I've had too much gin. And also with the podcast, it's great because I'm still learning as I go. Because like you get the basics quite quickly, but then actually like honing your craft and all of that is a journey that anyone who does anything goes on. Like, and I don't know about you. Do you find that? Are you one of those people that if you're not great at something, as soon as you do it, you don't want to do it anymore? Because I very much have that kind of, well, if I can't be the best at this, then I'm not going to do it at all. Fuck off.
Yeah, I think it takes like it takes me a moment where like, okay, I'm not the best yet. Okay, well, I'm just gonna be in this little fucking cocoon doing my podcast. And if you find my podcast in the middle of the fucking forest, then you might be able to spread the word. But I think for me, I'm just more of like, I'll do my shit in private. I'll do a podcast to myself. And, I think just posting it is an accomplishment just because to be that vulnerable with the masses and have it just be so open to anybody and everybody is such a huge self-accomplishment. And I feel like only fellow podcasters understand that level of vulnerability that it takes. As a consumer or a listener, you're like, this podcast fucking sucks, or she thinks she's fucking funny, but she's really not. And that's fine, because I think I'm funny, and I think it takes these baby steps to get to the point of even wanting to put a podcast out. So I think for me, I'm like, I, of course, want to be the best. And I'm like, what the fuck? How am I not getting paid? Because, like, what the fuck, But at the same time, I'm like, I think for me, did you ever do improv growing up?
A little bit, not a lot, but yeah, some, yeah.
So
with my theatre glaze, yeah.
I think there's something in that improv training where you're just like, well, it takes a moment to establish the scene. If you laugh or you do laugh in your car, that I'm never going to hear, and unless you go on the Instagram or go on the YouTube and say, hey, that was fucking funny, or I really like it, or here's the time code where that was shit fucking tickled me to the point where I pissed in the fucking car driving to work. Whatever the case was. But for me, I think I come from that improv space of I'm used to people not laughing to begin with. So when I was doing stand-up comedy for like the one or two jokes people actually laughed at, like it threw me off. I was so used to the silence that it was the reverse for me, that when people actually laugh, I was like, y'all thought that was funny? It was. I'm so thrown off right now. I don't know how to respond.
And did you get people laughing at bits that you didn't think were very funny? And that, because I had that, and that really put me off. Like, when I've done like, I've not done much stand up, but I would find the audience always laughed at something that wasn't not funny, but I thought it wasn't the funnier part of the thing.
Yeah.
And then that's the bit they laugh at, and then we get to the bit that I thought was really funny, and the reaction would be less. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
That's not right. Well, you're laughing in the wrong place, you stupid people.
I gave you the space to laugh. I gave you the timing to fucking laugh, and you still didn't fucking laugh? But you laughed at something that was not intended to be funny. And that's where I was like, wow, this is really... I've always thought comedy was a different art form, that I never even wanted to call myself a comedian, because that is a specific art form. As you can see, I'm like slowly slurring my words, but
no one noticed. It's good.
Only I did, and then called it out. And then they're like, oh, let me replay that. Yeah, she did slur a little bit. I would fucking replay that shit and be like, oh yeah, that was a deep lisp and a slur. That was a mixture of both. There you go.
But we love
There's
you
a
anyway.
Twofer right there.
We love you just as you are, so it's fine.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We over here talking dirty on the late night listen.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to tell them about that late night listen? Or should I?
Late night listen. You hear me talking,
Late night listen.
telling dirty stories. Yeah. If that's your idea of fun, then yeah, go to onlyfans.com/late night listen and hear me in my sexy English accent telling dirty stories. And there's even a little bit of sexy noise in there, just me and a young man having a sweaty, grunty session together, which is quite fun. If audio is if audio tickles your fancy, then that's what it's a bit of fun. Just that kind of thing, and like bed like squeaky bed. Wow, you sound just like him. That was amazing.
I had to really channel that one. I had to
That
really
was good.
channel
I
that.
liked it. Yeah. Very bassy. You were down here. You were, oh, yeah.
Yeah. You speak your big cockney.
Oh, my God.
God.
This is terrifying.
Put your one good headphone on. Oh, shit.
They're both good. Dear. Filth.
Look at that.
Absolute
That was a little
filth.
bit of
Utter
erotic
filth.
audiobook, y'all. I know you weren't ready for all that like stimulation and shit for that ass. But Scott, I had to bring it. I had to bring the tempo up for that before we just fall in the pool of sexual audio erotic moans and shit. For the folks that don't know, like I said in the intro, you have an audio only fans page.
Yep.
What kind of how did that start and how is that going? Because first of all, I think that's fucking amazing. And sexual, see, I just want to talk sexual. Go ahead and tell the people before I just do too much.
Yeah,
I'm going to drink my gin and tonic with
Okay.
fucking real lemons in
You
here.
keep going.
Go ahead.
It looks lovely. Yeah, it was just a fun idea. I was like, oh, well, I already do my podcast, so I have all the equipment, and it might be fun to do something different with OnlyFans because I don't really want to get naked. No one needs to see my penis. It's just a penis. And like I've said, I don't have
your penis.
Exactly. I can tell you stories about it, and they're much more interesting than the thing itself. And I don't have that kind of porn star body and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, it's a lot of effort to get there, and I don't really care enough. So let's let your imagination do the work. And like when I've had housemates that I actually fancied, which doesn't happen often, I make a point of making sure my housemates aren't too attractive. But if there's a housemate I fancy and all the walls are quite thin, I can overhear them having sex and things. It can be quite sexy, and I kind of like, ooh. It's almost like free porn kind of a way.
Like, what kind of shit do you hear, Scott?
Just grunts and squeaks. The bed springs. All that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this is interesting.
So you have to see Scott bouncing to really enjoy the moans.
So I thought, well, if like the audio is sexy and using your imagination is always sexy, because that's. Like, a dick pic's a dick pic, but someone talking sexy to me and flirting with me is much more fun. So I thought, why not do that as a OnlyFans? And it works-ish. I mean, OnlyFans is made for pictures and videos, so it's not great. But the audio's up there, and you can listen if you want to. It's as cheap as I can make it, which is still $5 a month. So less than, about what, a coffee? Like one coffee in Starbucks per month.
One coffee.
Yeah, to hear me talking dirty, and I do a new story every week or so. So you get a good 4 stories a month for your $5. Excuse me. And the podcast, of course, is always free. So if you like the podcast, if you like my voice in the podcast, you can go and listen to me talking about dick and cock and ass and all that kind of thing in my sexy English accent.
Vagine.
There's been no vagine in my...
Vagine.
There's been none of that in there so far, but I should find some. I should find some, like a bisexual threesome story. That'd be quite nice, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I like a bit of that. Everyone's just getting what they want.
I love the concept of late night listen.
Thanks. Me too. But yeah, it's a shame. I mean, part of the problem is that OnlyFans isn't made for that kind of content, and part of the problem is like people don't go. Not everyone is looking for that, so it's not going to appeal to everyone. But sometimes, it's fun, and it was just to get a little bit more pocket money. So it's doing its job. I don't do it. I'm not like, oh, if I don't have 10,000 followers every month, then I'm gonna quit. Or anything stupid like that.
Let's play a quick round of What Do You Meme? I'm not ready to let you go yet, Scott.
I'm ready.
Are you ready, Scott?
Hit me.
Are you ready?
Bring on.
Okay. We've got the first image right
Oh,
here.
it's Bad Choice Brian. Or Bad Luck Brian. What I have to do is that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You're laughing anyway, so I think I win. But,
So we've got a preppy boy with braces, super
I don't
collar over a plaid sweater.
I don't know. You go first because like I'm not sure yet how we play this game. I'm still learning.
Okay. All right. So I'll go first, per Scott's request. He sucked my dick so hard.
That's terrifying.
I feel like that was like a kind of laugh.
Yes, that was a laugh. That was a laugh.
That was a kind of laugh.
That was a kind of laugh.
All right. I feel like I need to drink on that because that was a little
that's you
extra.
that's you that does that. Okay.
So we're playing What Do You Meme?
Okay.
He's got the Dumb and Dumber haircut.
Yeah.
He's a ginger with a plaid sweater, blue collar hanging over.
It was going so
Brace.
well until he caught his foreskin in my braces. How's that? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I win.
Oh, gosh! I feel like I need to take 2 drinks for that. I just fell out.
Feel free.
I know you're on can number 3, huh?
Yeah.
Thank goodness I'm at home. Shit. Oh, gosh. Okay.
All right, one more. Give me another one.
Next picture.
Oh, shit.
It's a guy stepping over the ledge in a hiking jacket.
That's me striding confidently into any dating scenarios. Oh, this is going well. Splat. That's pretty much how it goes. Pretty much constantly.
I'm so mad that was fucking funny. Let's see. Goodbye, cruel world. You can't handle this big dick.
I mean...
Yes! I got Scott to laugh! Yes, yes. But what do you meme? Are you filling yourself up?
I'm done. I've run out of cans. I only brought 3. I
feel like I could send this over. I want to
would like
send
that.
this over.
Please do.
Take this. We're gonna have to do an after dark special.
Yes, and that's
So there's a kid.
That's me running out of gin.
arms.
That's just me, like, well,
That really is
yeah, just
Scott.
sulking, just like, well, I've not got any gin left. How dare you? How dare you, mother, not have more gin ready for me to drink?
This is fucking amazing. Okay, so I owe you a drink.
Okay. Next time I'm in LA, you can buy me a drink. You can take me somewhere in WeHo.
Oh, of course. I'm getting you filthy drunk next time you're in LA. I just need that to be on record.
I'll just be a mess.
So my caption will be, "What the fuck, mate?"
Oh, was that supposed to, was that a British accent? Because you almost went a bit
That was
Australian.
that would have gotten me fired off of EastEnders.
Probably, yeah.
For sure.
Although you would have got a role on Neighbours instead, or Home and Away, or something like that. So, you know.
I'm gonna fucking laugh because Scott makes me fucking laugh. Yay. This is a fucking mess. Oh gosh. I got fired off of EastEnders that fast. I was hired for 2 fucking hours and then fired.
What a couple of hours. It was amazing.
This has been the best 2 hours of my life.
Oh,
I don't know about you.
That's
but
very sweet. I doubt that somehow. You have a wife.
This has been amazing. You have to come back. I love
this has been genuinely a lot more fun than I was expecting.
Yeah, me too. Yay. I have not been this faded in quite some time.
Excellent. I'm glad I could do that for you because I've had a lovely time too. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute delight. And you know, I was looking forward to it, but I didn't think it was going to be this much fun. This is more fun than I was expecting. But yeah,
I
loved
appreciate
So
it.
thank
This
you so
is-
much for having me, and I would love to come back and do it again soon.
Yeah, same here. Same here. We have to do this again. Now you're stuck with me because this is. I feel
Excellent.
the connection and I feel the love and the bond, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing. From your
thanks, babe.
marvelous voice, voiceovers, but also your mission statement of what you're doing with your podcast. Like that's super dope. And then on top of that, you got the Queer Podcast Network. You have
Busy
fucking
days,
late night
busy
listen.
days.
You have you're out here and you're really contributing to the community, and I really appreciate that because I need folks to understand. Although I have a lot of gin and tonic in my system, that you're doing a lot for the community, and they need to know you, and they need to know about you, and they need to know what you're doing, and they need to follow all of your sexy queer sex stories and
saying
kinky
nice things.
stories and slutty stories and truth, and there's so much honesty in what you do, and I just need you to know that. I need you to know that I appreciate what you're doing. I know that we don't know each other that well, but I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for everything that you do.
And I'm really grateful for you having me on and for saying all these nice things about me, because it's always nice to hear. And and you do such a great job as well. I mean, you're like, I take months off. I go, I don't feel like it this week, and I have no one to stop me. Whereas you're at it week in, week out. You're amazing. You're a trooper. Well done, you. And I could say exactly the same things to you as well. You're putting stuff back out there. You're making a difference, and you're giving something back to the community, and that's great. If more people were like you, the world would be a better place.
You are overly sweet, and I feel like I connect with you deeper than you know, because I too cannot handle compliments that well. I really gravitate to you. You know, as much as you joke about talking in a cupboard, like I have this very introvert and extrovert side of me, and I think what the work that you're doing is incredibly important. And look at me, I'm turning it on you. You're talking about me, but I'm talking about you. But I want folks to know the depth and the greatness of what you're doing, although it is in this humorous yet truthful vortex of sexy, slutty, vulnerable stories, that there's so much truth and so many issues to be discussed in it. And I really appreciate you. And if I don't know, I just felt that in my spirit, and I had to share that. And it's not the gin and tonic, but for my research, I really.
It's a little bit of gin and tonic, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, I really appreciate what you're doing. I just really appreciate it. Like, I feel like there's folks that are doing stuff for the LGBT community, and in a sense, it's like in this very selfish way. But what you're doing is very selfless, and you're sharing the stories of the community, and I really need folks to understand that as much as we joke and we play, you really do share the honesty and the vulnerability and the issues that are in the queer community. And
thank you, my love.
we've all been there. We don't have that space. I wish there was a Probably True podcast growing up, because I probably would have felt a little bit more like comfortable being gay and having a crush on my basketball mentor and Spanish teacher, right? Like, you know, there's all of these other avenues, and I really need you to understand. I know you've gotten awards and all these other things, but you've done so many great things. You're doing so many great things, and creating the queer podcast.
Getting all teary.
Sorry. I guess I'm just feeling very grateful, because we don't have many spaces like this. We don't have many queer folks really getting to the truth of what our experiences has been. And Ooh, you're about to make me all like choky and
Happy little
all
circle jerk. Bless us.
yeah.
Just,
It's a rainbow circle.
hey.
But
Thank you.
I just want people to know that are listening, Scott is the truth. As much as he jokes and he plays, he's really a genuine, beautiful, deep soul. And as much as you would be grateful to have him as your partner, that you would be grateful to listen to his podcast.
And I would
So
love it if
I
you
just
did.
need
Please
y'all
do
to-
go listen to my podcast. Thank you,
I
my
ju-
love. That's such a sweet thing to say.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna
absolutely.
I'm gonna keep a recording of this. So when I'm feeling down, I'm just gonna have you drunkenly telling me how great I am. I think that's really what I
Do
need
it.
to help me with those heavy days when I'm just on the sofa feeling miserable.
Yes.
So
You
thank
better
for
call
that.
me on WhatsApp if you're having some down days. I will be like, Scott, you better get it together, boo. You are the shit. These hoes don't know about you.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, you really please do call me. We are a community. We are a circle.
Yes.
We are a family. We, although we're not by blood, we are a family. We're an LGBTQ family and a community. And I feel like folks need to understand that, whether they're across the pond in New York, LA, Manhattan, whatever the fuck. I know Manhattan is in fucking New York. That's a terrible example.
Doesn't matter.
Maybe Montana, Maryland, whatever. You know, all these other spaces, we're all family. And I need folks to understand that we are needed and we are necessary, and the different ways that we go about this. And I really love that how you share stories and tell folks' journey. So I don't mean to make you like emotional, but I need you to understand your depth and your grasp and your importance in the community. Although you're across the pond, you're not across the pond. You're everywhere.
Thank you, my love. And that means a lot.
I
It really
appreciate you.
does. I appreciate you.
I
too.
appreciate you. Before
All right.
we
Oh,
get out of
okay,
here,
yeah.
I know that I've gotten all emotional and all heartfelt. I'll take a drink of, I was going to give you a sip of gin. Just take a sip, take an invisible sip.
All I have is look. These are all empty. There's nothing left. They're all empty now.
Oh, damn. Before we get out of here, we usually end every episode on words of wisdom.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, I need to think.
What
of
would
words of
be
wisdom. Okay.
your words of wisdom for the people?
I would say. Ooh. I think just to carry on that theme, if it would be find your people, find your tribe, find your little vibe, because you don't have to do this on your own. And those of us that have would not recommend it. And if your tribe, if your vibe is not visible, then do your bit to make it visible so that other people can find you, so that they don't have to be alone. And yeah, that's it. And oh, you're getting me all emotional, all the gin and all of that.
I feel that.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I think, yeah. That okay?
I feel
That's
like
okay?
my words of wisdom will be, I think, in hand with what Scott is saying. Follow your tribe, know your tribe, find your tribe, and know that your tribe is there to support you and to love you and to guide you and to protect you. We're all an LGBTQ plus family. I know we're different parts of that family, but we're still family. And I think that we can still love and support and protect one another. And I think that we all have to do our part, no matter what that means. Scott's going to make me like super emotional right now, but it's so imperative that we protect one another in our large umbrella of family.
Yeah.
Some parts of our family don't have that protection. And we have to protect them, and we have to support them in their journey and step up. And I think that's going to be my words of wisdom. This has been awesome. Look at that. A little light arm flex. I saw your muscles out here.
That was a solidarity. Yeah.
That was a flex. That was a solidarity. And then I saw like the whole gun show. It was like the whole muscle. It was the whole muscle. How can folks reach you, and how can they get in touch with you, and how can they listen to that sexy, erotic audiobook on OnlyFans?
Well, you can find me on the socials. Search for Scott Flashheart, and you'll find me on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm on TikTok as well, but I haven't really got my head around TikTok yet. I don't really know what I'm doing with it. Anyway, and you can find the podcast. Just search Probably True, or just search for Scott Flashheart on podcasts, and you'll find it because I'm the only one. And the erotic fiction, you have to go to onlyfans.com/late night listen. All one word, late night listen. And you can find me there if you want to listen to me doing something a little bit sexy. There is, in fact, I think there's a sample. There's on my podcast, one of the episodes is me reading a little bit of one of the audio.
Is there?
I think
See,
them, yeah.
Even in my research, I wasn't able to find that.
That's on there, but I mean, it's your research is really fucking thorough. I'm impressed and slightly scared, if I'm honest, but I like it. Well done. But yeah, so yes, those are the ways you can find me. Please just send me a message or slide into my DMs. You're all welcome. Please don't send me dick pics or bumhole pics. I don't want to see them.
Unless you've sent a good joke.
I mean, even so, wait to be asked before you send me any genitals. Like, it's just polite, you know? And yes, I'll be, of course, I'll be sharing this when it's live and that as well. So see if I can shout about you to my followers too, because you're awesome.
Oh, absolutely. This has been so much fun, and wow.
You have to come on my show. I want you on my show as well. Find a
let's
story
do
you
it.
want to tell.
Oh,
And I'll have you on my show.
I'm gonna have to find a really good story.
Well, no pressure. Take your time. As long as you need.
Oh, I'll take my time.
I'm sure you will.
I love it. Y'all, we have a new episode of Jam Packed every Wednesday morning. Make sure you reach out at Jam Packed Show on Instagram as well as Twitter. On Facebook, it is /Jam Packed Show. And then on YouTube, of course, where you want to see all the goodness, all the fun, all the flavor, all the facial expressions, all the fantasticness that goes on that you don't get to you get to see it. I'm telling you, YouTube is like so much more fun where you just get to see motherfuckers just talking with facial expressions and red light district. I feel like I'm in the fucking red light district in Amsterdam in Scott's Flat. But y'all would never know that if you didn't watch the YouTube version. So go to the YouTube channel, watch it all, check it out, experience it, delve in it. He's got a black light under his bed. It's a whole experience. It's a whole
sexy.
vibe.
It's really sexy.
It is very sexy. YouTube.com/jampacked. It's that simple. All you need to know is the /jampacked. Reach out. We love you. We love you, Scott. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining, Scott. This is amazing. We love you so much.
Let's do it again soon.
We have to do this so soon, and we have to do your podcast. We have to do After Dark with Scott. This is a whole experience because we need to do an After Dark episode.
Definitely.
We need to do that. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we will see you on the next Jam Packed. Woo!
Y'all better come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day.